everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today I have for you my March reading wrap-up. There are 14 books to talk about, but I'm going to try and do this a little bit rapid fire, honestly just because I don't really feel like filming today, but today is the only day that I can film in order to get this video up on the day it's scheduled to get up. And I know I could just get it up later, but I don't want to. Once something is in my schedule, I want to get it done on that day. So we're here filming 14 books. Let's get into it. So if you didn't know, the way that I am rating my books this year is with a tier ranked system, and each of the ranks stands for something. The F rank, the very bottom rank, stands for finishing this book in this economy, and I have no books in this category, which is great. I didn't DNF a single book in March. I figured everything was good enough to at least complete it, but maybe not better than that. So let's just move up to the next level. We have the D tier, which stands for disappointing to say the least, and I have one book in this tier, and honestly, I feel like this book is more along the lines of disappointed but not surprised. The book in this category is Empty Smiles by Catherine Arden. This is the fourth and final book in the Small Spaces series, and I was hopeful that I would enjoy this book, but I'm not surprised that I didn't, because I absolutely adored book one, liked book two but not as much as book one, and then book three I felt like would have been fine if it was just a regular book on its own, but as the third installment of the series, it really let me down. I feel like it was not at all living up to the first two books. And then this book, the fourth one, I was hoping for a good finale, and it just didn't deliver. There were moments that I felt were very reminiscent of the first book, with those creep factors and just little tiny spotlights where I was like, yes, I can see why I loved the first book in these moments in this book, but overall, it was just disappointing, hence why it's in this tier. Nothing really came together in a way that I found satisfying, and I thought the actual conclusion was so not poorly done, but kind of poorly done. It just was okay, now the book is over, done. And I was like, oh, alright, I guess that's it. So yeah, definitely my least favorite out of all of the books that I read in March. One step above the D tier is of course the C tier, and this stands for Could Take It or Leave It, and I have 4 books in this category. The first one of which is This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. And I'm gonna be real with you, I don't remember anything about this book, pretty much. I kind of forgot that I even read it until I was going back through my reading journal and compiling my script with all of the books that I read. And I was like, oh yeah, that is something that I picked up. And I read it, finished it, and completely, let it go out of my head. It's gone. I know there are automatons. There might have been pirates at one point, question mark? I'm not so sure about that. The main character has a brother. Everything else, completely gone. So while I didn't dislike this book, it clearly wasn't anything special, so that is why it is in the C tier. Then we have A Vow in Vengeance by Jacqueline Rodriguez, and I don't think I understand the magic system in this book at all. It has to do with tarot cards, and they do explain the magic, but they don't explain it in a way that makes sense in my head, so I don't really know what's going on with that, but it's fine. This was kind of your classic TikTok romantasy book, and it was really ridiculous at times, yet I was still kind of eating it up, those silly moments of who hurt you and touch her and you'll die kind of thing. It's ridiculous. It's so funny. And yet, I was here for every moment. So, I don't know what that says about me. I am not super duper invested in the story, but I do think I will be reading the sequel, mostly because I have a theory about the main character's brother, and I need to know if I'm right, because it seems so obvious, but we didn't get any confirmation in this book, so I need to read the next one. I think it's only going to be a duology, as far as I'm aware, so it's not that much of a commitment. Next up, we have Bunny by Mona Awad, And I went into this already wary because I have previously DNF'd a book by Mona Awad. It was All's Well. I read literally just like one chapter and it was like, no, this is not for me. I hate this. And like never thought about it since. But Bunny was the book club pick for my book club, the Honeybee Society, where we read one dark academia book every 2 months. And I don't, like, I didn't hate this, but I don't want to think about it ever again. The writing style is so vague in a way that was kind of infuriating. And it reminded me of Piranesi and the Atlas Six. Both books are books that I am known for very much disliking, so take that how you will. I know there's a sequel, but I have heard that it is worse than this first book, and like people who love the first book didn't really like the second one. And seeing as I didn't really like the first book, I'm not gonna pick up the second one. I just can't be bothered. And the last book in the C tier is Spoiled Milk by Avery Curran. This is a book that I am a little bit conflicted on because the vibes and aesthetic of it are so good. Like, Chef's Kiss, perfect. I loved the historical setting, although it was really weird because I read this coming right off of a different book set in almost exactly the same time period, so that messed me up a little bit. But it was still really fun. I love a good historical setting. This takes place at a boarding school, a girls' finishing school in Victorian England, and I also really loved the horror elements. It was deliciously disgusting, but the actual story itself is what fell flat for me. I feel like there wasn't anything super concrete to focus on, and I would have liked a little bit more of that to really like ground the story and hold it together. I am pretty sure that this is a debut novel though, so for what it was still really good, and I am excited to see how this author progresses in the future. Next is, of course, the B tier, and that stands for Been a Good Reading Experience. And for the first book in this category, we have A Magical Girl Retires by Park Solyan. I took the dust jacket off because I wanted to display this stunning cover, which I mean, this artwork is on the dust jacket too, but it has like this big color block that has the name of the book and the author and everything, and I just wanted to display the full artwork. And then the back says, Me, a magical girl. It's so beautiful, and that's one of my favorite parts of this book. This is very short. I really appreciated that about it because it was kind of like a little slice of life moment. I just have really been vibing with East Asian translated fiction recently, and this was translated from Korean, and it was so good. It gave me exactly what I wanted. I feel like the East Asian canon of literature just has like different tropes and expectations than Western literature, and I really appreciate that. That was a bus that just drove by, I'm sorry. But this was really good. I had a fun time. It's a very ridiculous premise about a person who wants to off herself, except she is saved by a magical girl who comes to her and is like, hey, you're a magical girl too, and you're gonna help us save the world. And this, like, I think she's like 29-year-old woman is like, I guess. And then they're off on this little mini adventure to save the world. It also has these illustrations for each chapter that are so beautiful. Let me see if I can find another one. Like, beautiful. I'm obsessed. So this has a little like spot of pride on my shelf now. Even though it wasn't like a perfect book, it was still a really good time, and I think it's stunning. And I'm so happy to have read it. Then we have The Unknown by K.A. Applegate, which is a book in the Animorphs series. I couldn't tell you what number, 15 maybe? Something like that. It's somewhere in the teens, and because of that, I feel like I'm too far into the series to really tell you things that specifically happened in this book because I don't want to spoil it. But also, seeing as there's more than 50 books in the series, I'm still in the early stages of it, so I feel like there's not a lot I could talk about for like the grand scheme of things, which is just really weird to feel that way. But just know that I am still enjoying the series, and I'm still looking forward to continuing it, so expect more Animorphs in wrap-ups in the future. Next up, we have that other Victorian era setting book that I mentioned earlier, and that is The Sweet Far Thing by Libba Bray. Huge. Absolutely massive. I'm so proud of myself for getting through this book. It is over 800 pages, and it definitely didn't need to be. I feel like there were like scenes that went on for a little bit too long and could have been slimmed down, and other scenes that kind of just weren't like important to the story in any capacity and could have been cut entirely, which I feel like there were moments in book 2 that I felt the same way about. So, continued on here. But I'm still really glad that I read this, and like I said, I'm proud of myself for getting through this chunky, chunky book. I liked this series. This is the conclusion to the Gemma Doyle trilogy, so not only am I accomplished in reading an 800 plus page book, but I have finished out a series. I finished out several series this month, which is great. But I enjoyed the series, but I didn't love it. I definitely didn't like it as much as I've been enjoying The Diviners by Libba Bray, her other historical fantasy series. So while I am glad that I read it, I'm not really sure I'm going to return to it unless I'm in like a very specific mood with my reading. So they can just sit on my shelf as trophies for now. And the last book in the B tier is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, which I read as part of the Nostalgia Train book club, a book club run by my dear friend Violet, where we read YA and middle grade mega hits of the past. And I liked reading this book. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to reread it, but the actual experience of it was not my favorite. I do still think this is a very important story that people should read, especially younger people, I feel like would benefit a lot from reading a story like this. But for me personally in my life, it just made me really sad, and not in the way that I would feel if I went into a book knowing it would make me sad and wanting to have the experience of reading a sad book. It kind of just like upset me quite a lot, and I don't want that to happen. So, yeah, conflicting. I'm glad I read it, but also I didn't quite enjoy the reading experience, which is weird because this is in the B tier because that stands for been a good reading experience, but this wasn't really. So I don't know. This is here mostly because putting it in a C tier felt way too low. So, yeah, I don't know. We're just going to move on. So we are now at the A tier, which is the penultimate tier, and it stands for Actually Lives in My Head Rent Free. These are all books that I have been thinking about since I finished them and that have left a lasting impression on me. And first up in this category, we have The Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the second short story collection in the Witcher series, and I didn't like this one as much as I liked the first one, The Last Wish. I thought that was a phenomenal short story collection, but I still had a really good time. There was just this like spark missing that the first series had and this one didn't, but I still really loved it. My favorite part of this whole collection was Ciri. I really think she's going to be my favorite character in the whole series, and I'm so looking forward to continuing on and checking out Blood of Elves, which is the first full-length novel in the series, and I have said series so many times, but it's fine. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Geralt and Ciri's relationship evolve over the course of the next few books. So, yeah, very much wanting to get into that quickly. And the next book in the A tier is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. This was such a delightful little reading experience. I read along with this beautiful edition while also listening to the audiobook, which is something that I love to do for books, and I did it for another book that we'll talk about in a minute. But this was so fun. This edition of this book was a gift from my boyfriend for my birthday last year, and so I wanted to read specifically from this one, also just because it's really pretty. But the audiobook was a wonderful addition to that. I thought the narrator was phenomenal. The voices specifically were so good. Like, everyone was so distinct. Howl had a Welsh accent, which is a detail that I very much appreciated. And I really enjoyed how young Sophie and old Sophie sounded like the same character while still being distinct enough that you would know even without like being like following along here, like when she was young Sophie and when she was old Sophie, if that makes sense. So yeah, overall, just a very magical time, and I will definitely be rereading this a million times in the future because it is a book that I genuinely just love, and I'll probably be listening to the audiobook several more times along with it because I just really enjoyed it that much. Next, we have Across the Green Grass Fields by Seanan McGuire. And as much as I love the characters that we've already met in the Wayward Children series, it was nice to get like a fresh perspective and a new story with a new character. I did really enjoy this. The Hooflands are a very magical place, and I thought it was so fun to explore that. I also really enjoyed the twist at the end dealing with the Empress and how our main character handled that. I thought it was very intriguing. And once again, I'm just in awe of how amazing Seanan McGuire is at packing so much emotion into such a short work. This is definitely one of my favorite series that I've ever read, and I just can't wait to keep reading on because each one has just been a masterwork. And the final book in the A tier is Faithbreaker by Hannah Kaner, the third and final book in the Fallen Gods series. So yet again, another series that I've completed. I just did phenomenally in that category, I think, not to toot my own horn. But this is the other book that I read where it was physical along with the audiobook, both versions of which I checked out from the library, so I don't have them here with me right now. But I really liked this series. It's not like a top 10 ultimate favorite series by all means, but it's still very good consistently throughout. And once again, the narrator of this book is amazing, and I highly recommend if you were to pick up these books to pick up the audio because the narrator does a wonderful job. I really like the system of like magic and gods in this series, and that is something that I feel like was very inspiring to my like own stories. Like as a writer, I read these books, and the whole magic system really had me feeling like I wanted to do something along those lines. So yeah, definitely a very good time. And finally, we come to the final tier, the highest tier, which is, of course, the S tier, and it stands for Sublime, specifically the way that it is said in the Barbie movie, just because I think that's really funny. And we have one book in this category, and that is The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones. I've read this book many times. I think this was like my third or fourth time reading this book, and this was the time where it really clicked for me. I mean, like, I really enjoyed it all of the other times, obviously, or else I wouldn't have read it that many times. But in this reread, I really felt like I noticed a lot of the, like, intentional craft decisions that the author made while writing this book and how all of the different pieces came together. And so that was just a really fun time to notice all of the details. And I think that it's so well done the way the different storylines all come together to create this like explosive and emotional climax. It's almost like a roller coaster where it's this very slow, steady increase and then it hits you and you don't know that you're in the climax until it gets to that point of no return and you just have to deal with this fallout now. And I think it's just a very magical experience. So yeah, definitely my favorite read of the month, which was a little bit of a surprise. I didn't expect this to be my only S tier of the month, but that's how it happened, and I'm not really mad about it. So those are all of the books that I read in March. I'm not really sure how well I accomplished that rapid fire review system that I was trying to get done in this video, but that's fine. I really enjoyed talking about these books. These wrap-ups are so much fun to do, even if I am trying to get through them quickly, so I hope you guys enjoy watching them. I apologize again for all the cars going by, but there's nothing I can do about that. But we are now at the end of this video, so if you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.